One of my favorite things to shoot are city overviews or city skylines, like this one I did about 10 years ago with my Nikon D4 at the time. This is a panorama picture. I took several pictures with a 50mm lens and stitched them together. This is Laurel Canyon. From Laurel Canyon, the overview onto the city of Beverly Hills. I have here two cameras. I have my SL3 with the 24-90. This is my camera, this is my workhorse, this is my everyday camera. And I have here the Hasselblad 907X with the CFVII 250C digital back. This camera is not mine, it belongs to Alexander Görlitz from Photo Görlitz. This video is not sponsored, but to be open with everything, Alex loaned me this camera at no cost. I have to send it back after this video. I did several videos with that camera. One is already online, another one is coming later. I had this for a few weeks, so thank you, Alex. If you're interested in Hasselblad stuff, or of course you're interested in Leica stuff, check out Alex's store. I link it in the description. Alex is a fantastic guy. I bought all my Leica stuff for the past years with Alex. If you're following my channel and if you saw my first video of this year's where I looked at all my gear I go into 2025, I was talking about what I want to do in 2025. I'm really interested in the medium format and I will definitely have a look into the Hasselblad system this year. This is one of my big goals this year. I shot never medium format and I was especially interested to try out this year medium format cameras, especially for city overviews or even more city skylines at night, because this is basically my absolute favorite thing to shoot. About 2 years ago, I made a video about how I shoot the city skylines with my, at the time, SL2. Now I have the SL3 and I am actually very happy that I have the 50C. There's also a 100 megapixel version out there, of course, but I now have the 50C and I'm especially happy about that because to make a comparison with the SL3, this is the right one because the SL3 has 60 megapixels, so we don't have a big difference in megapixel. We of course have a big difference in sensor size. If we have those sensors next to each other, we can see on the SL3 we have the classical 35mm sensor and on the Hasselblad we have a medium format digital sensor. Before we go into that, let's talk about the lenses and how I did that comparison. I have here on the Hasselblad a 55 prime lens and I wanted to have about the same framing. The equivalent of a 55 on the Hasselblad is about a 43 on the Leica. So I compared by eye, I didn't measure it absolutely correct because I cannot find the 43 settings here. I just took a picture with the Hasselblad. I then compared when I set up the SL3, my Hasselblad picture, and I checked that I have roughly the same field of view. I set up the Hasselblad first. Then I set it on self-timer with 2 seconds because I wanted to do a long exposure shot. I set the camera to f8 and I set both the cameras on ISO 100. That in the end gave me a shutter speed of 10 or 11 seconds and yeah, that's what I did. So here we have our basically 4 test pictures. The red one is the original Leica SL3 DNG file. The yellow one is the original Hasselblad 907X with the 50C digital back. Of course, if I compare those, they are not the same aspect ratio and they are not the same size because of course we have the 60 megapixel on the SL3, so we have 9520 by 6336 pixels. The Hasselblad is slightly smaller, it's 8272 by 6200 pixels. If we zoom in at one point, we can see the different sizes. That's why I rendered down the SL3 picture 8272. This is the blue one, and I upscaled the Hasselblad to Leica's 9520 pixels. So let's first compare the original DNGs. And here, of course, we have the difference in size. We see the Leica is a little bit bigger. We are now comparing them at 100%. Let's go a little bit closer. Let's go to 200%. And if you, for example, look at that board here, we can see it looks a little bit crispier on the Hasselblad side. This can, of course, be because with the zoom, the Leica is bigger and the little bit smaller picture can look sharper. That's why I would like to compare Hasselblad's original with Leica's downsized picture. And now it's switched around. We have the Hasselblad on the left side, the Leica on the right side, and now we can see they are about the same size. So if you look at that leasing poster, it feels actually similar. The contrast is a little bit higher on the Leica. If we start looking at the building, if you, for example, look at this room here, at this balcony, we have it up here. The Hasselblad feels a little bit more contrasty. The light here feels a little bit more blurred out. If you have the other building in the back here, I have the feeling now the Hasselblad is clearer, it's sharper. And I think we're now seeing the results of the bigger sensor. We also can see a difference of handling the light, but this is the optics. We have here a very clean star-shaped effect, and here it is a little bit more blurred. Same here. And here. Let's go and look at the Capitol Records sign here. This looks similar, but also I have a feeling, let's look at the building here. We can see here the structure of the Capitol Records building. It feels much clearer on the Hasselblad than on the Leica. We have an aperture of 4 at 8 seconds. Maybe it's, no, it cannot be that it is out of focus, because the focus is basically on the building here. It has to be in focus. My first impression of the first picture here, the Hasselblad is sharper. Let's now check if you go and look at the original Leica and the upscaled Hasselblad, if it looks the same. Now we have the Leica on the left and the Hasselblad on the right, and even here, even though the Hasselblad is upscaled a little bit, it looks sharper, cleaner, clearer. Let's look at the corners here. I also have to add, I did not work on those pictures. They're not edited. They're just like they were out of camera. You can see it here in this part. This is very clear and this is kind of soft. Okay, let's look at the Pantages picture. Again, let's first look at the 2 original ones. We have the Leica on the left, Hasselblad on the right. If we look, for example, at the dining here, of course, now we can see the Leica is much bigger. Here we even can read the menu, which is not possible here. If we now look at the upscaled Hasselblad and the Leica, here we have the Leica on the right. Here I have the feeling that those texts here, the menus of those restaurants, are a little bit more contrasty and thus better readable. Now here we have aperture 8 on both. So I would say they look pretty similar. And here I even would say that the Leica looks sharper. So on aperture 8, the Leica catches up. Of course, we have on the left side now a little bit blown up picture, but that shouldn't make like a big difference. But here I would say Leica is the winner. Let's go and look at this night shot here of the city. This now again are the original ones. So we can see this difference in size. Here again we can see the much clearer rendered lights. Here it is more blurred, but that's what I would say is the zoom lens. Of course it's a prime against the zoom, even though we say that the zoom lens has prime quality. So let's again compare the downsized Leica shot. We have the Hasselblad on the left side now, the Leica on the right. And if you look at those apartments, I would say they are looking almost the same. If you go to the Netflix building here, the sensors totally render the color red differently. This is very interesting. It's a little bit more saturated and clearer on the Hasselblad. Here we also can see the different lights we have with the Leica. We have now this star shape, which has more stars. It probably has to do with that there is more glass in the lens, but maybe I'm wrong with that. Please correct me if I'm wrong. If we look at this corner apartment here, again, I have the feeling on the Hasselblad it is a little bit clearer, but I mean it's far away. If you look closer here on the pool terrace here with the orange-red colors, I feel that the Leica it's cleaner. It is correcter with the colors. Here we have some weird color effects happening. If you look at the Paramount building here, I also have the feeling it's actually pretty the same. Let's look at the last ones. We compare also again the original sizes. So, here we have a completely different color rendering. The reddish part here is the same, and in the back the sky is more cyan, more bluish. This is more magenta. If you look at the building, we can see again the sky is totally different in colors. Here I have the feeling again in this reflection that we have more structure. If you peek into that TV room also, this is more blurred out. We're now at an aperture of 8. If we look at the city now, which is far, far away, I would say several miles. Again, the Hasselblad feels a little bit clearer, but maybe it's because it's smaller. Let's look at the downsized Leica. So now we have the same size. On the left side is the Hasselblad, on the right side is the Leica. I have the feeling again that the buildings in the back are a little bit clearer in the structure on the Hasselblad, but if I look down here where this crane is, I have the feeling the separation of the objects is a little bit better on the Leica. If you look at something that is closer, here in the foreground, I would say the Leica is better, but in the background, for example, those two buildings look much more structured than, for example, here. So in conclusion, what can I say? The Leica is fantastic. It does an amazing job if I do those city skylines. The Hasselblad is that little much better if you do something like this. I would love to see like a Hasselblad city overview shot with a 90mm and maybe then stitch it together. I think you could have like enormously fantastic results. Unfortunately, this one goes back now to Alex, and yeah, maybe I get to try out the 100 megapixel at one point. I think with a 100 megapixel, maybe even if you stitch 4 together and we do it with a 90, I think you could have like enormous results. This is something I would like to try out. It's a little bit crazy, I know, but what can I say? I am a little bit of a nerd. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. And if you're interested in how I shoot the city skylines at night, it was done with my SL2, check out this video. In any case, see you in the next one. Until then, stay curious.